Okay. So I was going over the front page of my site and I was trying to write about literacy. And so I just went back. I noticed that Jeff Duncan Andrade, he created another video, or he was like a keynote in 2021. I hadn't seen this one. So I just started like listening to the talk again, and I had to cut it off after 5 minutes because I realized something. Because like I told you guys, like I grew up in upper middle class neighborhoods and in those schools, and like I just continue to hear the stories of like other people's like neighborhood, their shitty neighborhood schools, and really just like environmental segregation. Like that's a whole thing. There's some movies about that I'd recommend, like maybe actually in the yeah, maybe like In the Heights, or there's one, it's called A Decade of Fire. I think that's what the movie's called. It's basically about how Latinos and blacks were they were all put in this one like housing unit or whatever, and then they weren't allowed to like live in other housing units, and so it was a whole thing. Anyway, so Jeff was talking about equal and equitable education, and then he was talking about an environment of scarcity. Now, like, how can I put it? This is about money. Okay, like no one in this country cares about the poor. If you are poor, you have to care about yourself. That's it. Like, and you can actually do that. Like, if you care about yourself, then you can take care of yourself. And like that's really it. Like there's not more than that. Like that's the thing. The thing about having more money is you can pay other people to take care of you. As in, like, think about this. You can go to Marshall's, right, and go in the clearance section and just buy a whole bunch of shit to create a spa day in your bathroom. Or you can pay thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars to just go to a spa. Right? Like Marshall's, you can spend $30. At a spa, you might spend hundreds of dollars. So it's like the real question here is like, what's your budget? The same thing applies for education. There's a lot of people in this country who just don't believe in public education. Some of it is because like people don't care about like black children and Latino children getting access to education. Now it's like Arab children. Basically, it's like children of color. They don't give a shit about children of color gaining education because people like there are a lot of parts of the developing world where there is just not access to high quality education. Like they don't even know what it looks like. So people are like trying, and they're really, it's like brick and mortar sort of shit where there might not be chalkboards, there might not be tables or desks. Like there's like hella kids in a class, and there's like a million reasons why this like education doesn't like work all the way, right? Okay, so or they don't have it. So the big idea is if some of these children from these like poor developing countries are able to access Europe or America and then get this like free education, like, oh, what will they do with that information? And they'll be able to like do shit. I don't know. And then they'd be like American. Ooh, it all gets so fucking strange and weird to me because like that's another thing where there's like just foreign people who that really is their experience, right? Like they come from the developing worlds, and so having access to like infrastructure and like a middle class existence and like in middle class neighborhoods in like the middle of America, like they are now a part of American society. It only takes like one generation to get there. But it's just kind of like a lot of people have been invested in kind of halting that progress. So let's go back to a second because Jeff was talking about public schools, and like I did an AmeriCorps year. And so AmeriCorps, the whole point of the program is like to go into these like underprivileged schools, in the public schools and like teach the children. That's like the big idea or whatever. But yeah, like those schools don't have shit. Like they don't have anything. They don't have any extracurricular activities. It's like 25 kids and one teacher. Also, these are kids who are living in poverty. So just living in poverty is its own piece of shit. Okay? Like living in poverty is bad because your infrastructure sucks, right? Like Your roads have dents. Your parks are dirty. You don't have books at the library. It's like understaffed. Like people are malnourished. Like there's a bunch of reasons why like people are fat, they're ugly, they stink, they're sick, you know? There's a bunch of reasons why being around poor people sucks. And like basically like nobody likes it. Nobody likes it. It's not great to just be around poor people. And most of the poor people in this country, I mean, most of them are actually white, but like the big idea is like racism here. So like the poor people of color, people have just like singled them out because they just don't feel like poor people of color in America should have anything. That's the whole thing that like Jeff is talking about and that he has talked about in his other talks and like Edelin talks about as well. And so what they're basically what Jeff is actually getting at is like I want to fix public education. So that literally just like public education though is something that you just have to be really specific because like in Berkeley public education is great. In Palo Alto public education is great. In some parts of San Francisco public education is great. In Oakland in general public education is shit. Like it's awful. Around the board it's real bad. It's not good. Maybe it's getting better. Like Piedmont though, really good. Albany, pretty great. There's just hella neighborhood schools in Oakland that are just complete trash. Like going to those schools, like you're not gonna really learn anything. They're just like babysitting camps. It's just like all day. It's just a babysitting experience on how to like babysit. I guess I don't know. And then also a part of that like generational sort of like it's not just like generational trauma, right? It's like generational generational lack of worldliness knowledge because like it's like people's parents have never been to college. They've also probably like never been out of their neighborhood. Like they literally have like caricatures and stereotypes of people from other racial groups and they've clustered them all together. They'll make statements like all ugly people are like this, all tall people are like that, all black people are like this, all Asian people. Like they really believe that. And a part of like code switching is if like you go into those neighborhoods, you kind of like, maybe not you, I listen to what people are saying and you can't really argue with them because they are not open to critique and they don't have the ability to like think critically about anything. So like what their beliefs are, that's what their beliefs are. Like that's how my mother is. Like what she knows about the world and what she believes, like you cannot change that for her. That old black woman is going to like die with those beliefs. Like she's never ever gonna change. Like no new thought is able to enter her head. It's just not possible. It's just not possible. Like this is how she is. So, and it's not just her. It's like an entire communities just have these like ideas. They're like, this is how the world is. It's always gonna be like this. It's like, that's why kind of a lot of people are stuck in like poverty mindset and like they always talk about slavery. Don't get me wrong, because like there's like two sides of this. There's some people who like never talk about slavery at all. And then there's other people who just only talk about slavery and they don't look at any of the progress. But it's really important to just be moderate on the issue. It's like you understand that it's happened and it's bad and there needs to be reparations. Like the part that doesn't click with me is like when you understand it happened and you understand it was bad, but then you oppose reparations. Because it's like, it's very clear that this country is more than willing to provide reparations. Isn't there a bill right now where we're giving $800 million to Ukraine for like war and for Ukrainian housing and shit? $800 million. I should just started this year. They've come up with the money. Just the money is here. $800 million. But like, that's for fucking Ukraine, bro. Like, Ukraine is not even America. Like, the hypocrisy, I'm sorry, like that is some shit that I just can't sit with. Like the math ain't mathin', bro. The math ain't mathin'. And so then there's a whole other part of this where it's kind of like there's this idea that like, you know, you are supposed to, like, be okay with that. Like, you're supposed to be like, yeah, this is how we feel. This is what it is. This is what I believe. This is fine. It's like, no, bro, it's not fine. It's not fine. It ain't fine. Even fucking Kim Kardashian sued for like fucking Johnny Depp is suing a defamation for $50 million. The US has not, no, but maybe I'll sue just to be funny. Just sue the US government and be like, bro, I'm a descendant of slave me, run me my fucking check. If Johnny Depp can make $50 fucking million of defamation, I want some money for slavery. Run me my check. Okay, like, I don't, fuck that. Fuck what everybody else is talking about. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't need no AACP. You don't need no fucking group. Just file the fucking suit. All right? I made a thing on how to sue for free. So, if that is the issue that you have, then just sue. Sue. Whatever. Anyway, so where was I going with this? Yeah. So across the board, this is why neighborhoods and like where you live is like basically super important because you're paying for the schools. You can live in a poor neighborhood, but then just pay for private school, so then your kids will actually have a pretty good education. But if you live in a poor neighborhood and all you have access to is the neighborhood school, which is basically the current state of the world, then like, bro, that's all you have access to, and like, that's it. Like, yeah, the school's not good. The other people that you live around are probably like kind of hood too, and it's not really going out anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, people ain't getting better. It's just, it'd be like that. But I also want to just take this one step further, and maybe you should like refer back to my like and Coulter video on immigration, because like I think a lot of y'all just don't see what like regular America looks like the Good Burger version of America. Like, you don't actually have to be that great, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you basically just went to a pretty decent American high school, I mean, everybody is just like watching Portlandia and now Atlanta and Insecure on HBO Max and blogging. Like, it ain't that, like, not that much shit is happening. Like, you just don't have to be that spectacular to really, like, get ahead. And, I don't even know how else to put it. Like, it's just, all of it is just like madness, because I think people are confused too. They're like, why isn't she working harder? Well, I didn't have to work hard because like I'm not an immigrant, so like I'm sorry, I've been here the whole time. And also, I'm not gonna front, like, I just have more privilege than most of you motherfuckers. Like, I'm sorry, like, I didn't grow up in poverty like you. I didn't grow up on stamps and like public housing. That's just not my fucking situation. Like, okay, told this story multiple times. Being upper middle class is a fucking thing, and don't be mad at me. I'm the person who grew up with Wikipedia, computers, tablets, and like Nintendo. I don't know, like, I'm not giving that up for you, or like anybody. I don't miss me. Sorry, bitch. I've always had a laptop. Like, got a tablet right now. We're gonna keep using this, until the wheels fall off, so to speak. But I mean, like, seriously, I guess it's just unfamiliar to some people, this like gradual progression of like mediocrity. Like, you don't have to be that fucking great. I think this is why I'm just like never incentivized to like work that hard in tech, because like, for what? Like, I'm not gonna study all the data structures and algorithms. Like, why? For what? I don't need to do that. It's like way easier to just be a PM. Or start a fucking company. Like, if I wanted to work that fucking hard, I'd start my own company, but I'm too lazy to do that. Like, I shouldn't say that. I'm not lazy. Like, I feel like even with the work that I do, I'm like good at being like consistent and like getting into a routine and like understanding something and like iterating until I get it right. Like I'm really good at that. But it's just like I also continue to face a lot of like social issues because like no one knows what the fuck to do with the weird black girl who's just like out here adulting. It's like not no one's familiar with it, certainly not in Latin America, and that's what I mean. That's why I have a problem with a lot of the immigrants. They come like fresh off the boat with all their like stereotypes about like negras or whatever from Latino America or Latin America, and it's just like it's like derogatory and it's kind of like gross, you know? Yeah, it's kind of gross. But like I don't know, what are we gonna do? Because like we can't change it, and they're not like it just takes a while for them to like integrate. So I don't know. A part of it is like this is one of the other reasons why I want to just keep like a regular job for a minute, just to do more, because it clearly is like way hard for like other black girls or black guys to just do like regular shit and to just see like regular people in the regular society. And so it's like always me just being there like, hey, but I'm like the weird one. And also like, as you guys know, I'm an asshole. So like, it doesn't make sense to compare my situation to most people. I'm like Nunu from ATL. I've always been that way. Like, I love my urban songs and my like ghetto shoes and shit. Like, I love it. I love being urban. To me, I just grew up urban with the urban influences and I love it. I love it. I mean, you don't have to love it, but like, I love it.